Selena Gomez's Emilia Perez era started off as a big one. She was campaigning to get nominated for an Oscar, it was her first critically acclaimed film, and it got the longest standing ovation at the Cannes Film Festival. She got engaged to the supposed love of her life, Benny Blanco, all while hanging out with A-list actors and even seemingly looking like she was about to become one of them. It all seemed to be going well for her until it didn't. Emilia Perez has sparked significant controversy due to the several factors such as having a racist cast, misrepresenting and stereotyping Mexican culture, and the director admitting that he did not conduct in-depth research on Mexico, leading to accusations of a lack of sensitivity and context. Additionally, the casting director Carla Hull made comments suggesting that a lack of local talent in Mexico is the reason why the majority of the cast portraying a Mexican story are not Mexican. The cherry on top was Selena Gomez's tone-deaf and stubborn responses when asked about the backlash of the film, saying that she does not regret it one bit and if that she could go back in time, she would still choose to make this film, yet wanting us to have sympathy for her after filming herself crying because of what is happening to the undocumented migrants in the political climate of America today. And even after all of that, we have still not scratched the surface about the other reasons why Selena's Emilia Perez era has gone up in flames. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Scandalous Media. It's Alana here, and it looks like 2025 isn't shaping up too well for Selena. At first, everything seemed to be going great. She achieved significant milestones in her career and in her personal life. She took on a supporting role in the film Emilia Perez, which got her and her cast a 10-minute standing ovation at the Cannes Film Festival. She recently received billionaire status, mainly due to her rare beauty brand, which pushed her net worth to an estimated $1.3 billion, and she ended 2024 engaged to boyfriend Benny Blanco, saying she has dreamed of this moment her whole life. But as usual with Selena, what comes up must come down if done with ill intentions, and in this video we will be talking about all that went wrong for Selena during her Emilia Perez era. Make sure to give this video a like and subscribe. Before we get started, let's talk about an easy way to earn some extra cash with our sponsor, Free Cash. Most of us already play games on our phones, so why not get paid to do it? Whether you're bored on a road trip, trying to pass time at home, or playing for fun, you can make some money on the side. Free Cash is an online platform where users from all around the world can sign up for free and make money online by playing mobile games from different categories. It's one of the top reward platforms out there with a 4.7-star rating on Trustpilot. Once you sign up, you'll find tons of offers where you can earn money just by trying out apps or playing games. I'm playing the games Animal and Coins and Mergin, and the payout racks up. Before you start, make sure app tracking is enabled so Free Cash can track your progress and reward you properly. I've been playing for a bit and you can see my progress here. You can play while watching TV or commuting and passing time. To speed things up, I even made a couple of in-app purchases, and guess what? I got cash back from Free Cash as a bonus reward. There is a bunch of bonus rewards if you complete levels in a certain time frame. Withdrawing money is super simple. I'm withdrawing the money through PayPal, and the only thing is the first withdrawal amount minimum is $20, but after that there is no minimum. You guys can also try out Free Cash and make some extra cash by clicking the link in the description or scanning my QR code right here, and you will get a $5 bonus on the first offer you start. Your interface might look a little different depending on where you're from, but the functionality is still the same. Thanks to Free Cash for sponsoring this video, and now back to a different type of free entertainment that is Selena Gomez and all her latest drama. Actor Eugenio Derbez calls Selena indefensible and judges her performance in Emilia Perez. Mexican actor, comedian, director, and producer Eugenio Derbez called out Selena for her performance in Emilia Perez. Selena has said previously that she spent 6 months taking Spanish lessons to prepare for her role in the film, and according to many Spanish speakers, Selena didn't do anywhere near a good job. Eugenio was featured in an episode of Gabby Mez's podcast, and there he called Selena's performance indefensible and said that he and those who watched the movie with him were in disbelief over her portrayal, given that she is not a fluent Spanish speaker.
¿La actuación de Selena Gómez?
Es indefendible la actuación de Selena Gómez.
Selena es indefendible.
He agreed when the host said her performance could not be excused by calling it indefensible. The podcast host Gabby said that Selena is very talented, but she wasn't impressed by her performance due to the language barrier. She said, Spanish is neither her primary nor secondary language nor fifth, and that's why I feel like she doesn't know what she is saying, and if she doesn't know what she's saying, she can't give her acting any nuance. Eugenio agreed, saying, "I'm glad you're saying that because I was saying I can't believe no one is talking about it." He also went on to say that he doesn't agree with the award buzz that Selena and the movie generated, and he believes the only reason it got this much hype was because the audience watching it doesn't speak Spanish and therefore they couldn't judge it as well. He says, "I feel like what happens is they don't speak Spanish. If you watch a Russian film or a German film that is subtitled in Spanish and you see someone speaking in the original language, you say, 'Oh, look, okay, how interesting.'" He continues saying, "I like the film apart from Selena's scenes that jump at you because it has manageable things, but I was saying how strange because if the director doesn't speak English or Spanish and the movie is in English and Spanish and it takes place in Mexico and you don't understand the culture, it's like if I wanted to make a film in Russian without knowing the culture or Russian and speaking in French." He made a lot of good valid points, but fans were quick to send him death threats for not automatically praising Selena and only vocalizing what she herself thinks, which is that her Spanish isn't good enough to give a spectacular performance in Spanish.
I'm not as happy with what I feel like I could have done in Spanish.
Eugenio and Gabby even said that the issue with Selena is that people are too afraid to talk about her doing something not well because her fans will defend her and it makes people too afraid to say anything. It's not just Eugenio and Gabby who think Selena's Spanish was uncomfortable to watch and made no sense, it was a bunch of other people who watched the film.
¿Quieres que yo también te diga algo de tu putita?
Okay, now I understand what Eugenio Derbez was talking about. The accent as a Mexican American is pretty fucking bad. Like, this is almost unwatchably bad.
La rojo casa es entre de la escuela.
Other than Carlos Sofia, everyone sucked. I do not understand how Zoe Saldana won a Golden Globe, especially Selena Gomez. She cannot act. She's a terrible actress. And for every person I know who is a Spanish speaker or comes from a Spanish-speaking language has all said that her Spanish is abominable and offensive to them.
Punto.
Selena responded to his criticisms by saying, "I understand where you are coming from. I'm sorry, I did the best I could with the time I was given. Doesn't take away from how much work and heart I put into this movie."
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
This gave her fans ammo to attack because how dare anyone criticize Selena, thus making her feel bad about herself. Instead of allowing her to understand her shortcomings, her fans have patted her on the back for simply trying her best, ignoring the real criticism, which was that the issue isn't just about effort, it's that she took on a role that could have gone to someone else who was truly fluent in Spanish, someone who could have done it justice if given the chance.
I understand she doesn't know Spanish. They gave her the role in short notice, but seriously, it's so bad it's scary. I've seen white people talk better Spanish than this. Eugenio, you had a point.
So, Eugenio apologized for his comments, calling them careless and indefensible, and as Latinos, they should always support each other and that he was wrong. This pissed people off because it reminded everyone that Selena always needs a pat on the back for the same mediocre work she's been giving us since she started on the scene. It's always, "I didn't know, I'm not that good, nobody takes me seriously," and never, "Hey, let me use my free time to take some acting lessons," rather than doom scrolling on TikTok. And listen, I don't blame Selena for not knowing fluent and perfect Spanish. It's hard when you're mixed and you lose your ability to speak your second language, and it's hard enough to act in English as is, but why are you taking on Spanish films if you can't speak Spanish? Not only that, but why are you taking on a movie role for a story that negatively portrays Mexican people? I'll tell you why. It's because Selena is an opportunist. She will work her way to the top, being in movies you never heard of or collaborating on songs with people you never heard of because she likes to build a career portfolio. Her selfishness to do whatever she wants no matter the consequences is why many people criticize her. She did the same thing back in 2018 when she took on a Woody Allen film. Selena faced controversy for working with Woody Allen on the 2018 film A Rainy Day in New York due to long-standing allegations of sexual abuse against him. The controversy stemmed from the Me Too movement, which at the time the entertainment industry was reckoning with sexual misconduct and many actors were distancing themselves from figures accused of abuse. Woody Allen has been accused by his adopted daughter, Dylan Farrow, of molestation when she was just a child, a claim he has denied. The second reason was backlash from fans and fellow celebrities. Other actors, including Timothée Chalamet and Rebecca Hall, who were also in the film, publicly expressed regret for working with Woody Allen and donated their salaries to organizations supporting survivors of abuse. The third reason was Dylan Farrell's response, who directly called out actors who continued to work with Woody Allen, questioning how they could support him while claiming to stand for victims of abuse. And the fourth reason, Selena's own mother criticizing Selena when she chose to work with Woody Allen, stating her disappointment in Selena's actions and how she tried to convince her not to work with him. While Selena later made a reported donation to Time's Up, an organization supporting victims of sexual harassment, she never fully addressed or apologized for working with Woody Allen, which left many fans dissatisfied. This is the issue people have with Selena. She puts on this big show about how she cares and tries to be her most authentic self, and then when she gets called out for her hypocritical actions, she cries wolf. Emilia Perez started gaining a ton of controversy because the majority of Mexican viewers were angry at how it was stereotyping Mexico as a landscape of death, drug cartels, and gangsters, while then using the real-life issue of hundreds of thousands of missing persons as a backdrop for a song and dance. Emilia Perez has been battered by such a barrage of criticism and mockery that it's a mystery to many how it got nominated for any award at all. Emilia Perez's problematic cast gets exposed. In the past few weeks, the hate for Emilia Perez started to gain traction again as one of the cast members got exposed for being racist, Islamophobic, xenophobic, and literally anything else you can think of. Carla Sofia Gascon's old tweets resurfaced, and they are so bad that she needed to step down from doing promo for the movie. Some tweets attack Muslims, with Carla saying on November 22, 2020, "I'm sorry, is it just my impression or are there more Muslims in Spain? Every time I go pick up my daughter from school, there are more women with their hair covered and their skirts down to their heels. Next year, instead of English, we'll have to teach Arabic." Another disturbing and condescending tweet says, "Islam is marvelous without any machoism. Women are respected, and when they are so respected, they are left with a little squared hole on their faces for their eyes to be visible and their mouths, but only if she behaves. Although they dress this way for their own enjoyment, how deeply disgusting of humanity." She continues to attack all religions by saying, "I am so sick of so much of this shit, of Islam, of Christianity, of Catholicism, and all of the beliefs of the morons that violate human rights." She called Islam an infection for humanity in one, and in another described the migration of Muslims into Spain as a planned invasion. When she's not tweeting hate about different religions, she's tweeting hate about political movements, vaccinations, and the Oscars. A few days after George Floyd was killed by a police officer, Carla tweeted in support of the Black Lives Matter movement, but her way of doing so was to insult George Floyd first and reduce his existence as a human being. She said, "I really think that very few people ever cared about George Floyd, a drug addict swindler, but his death has served to once again demonstrate that there are people who still consider black people to be monkeys without rights and consider policemen to be assassins. They're all wrong. Too many things to reflect on regarding the behavior of our species every time an event occurs. Perhaps it is no longer a question of racism, but of social classes that feel threatened by each other. Maybe that's the only real difference." It's funny how in her tweets, you can tell she thinks she's so enlightened and smarter than everybody else, when in reality, once she got exposed, she pretended these tweets were being written when she was going through a dark period of time in her life. Carla, who was the first openly trans actor to be nominated for an Academy Award, also weighed in on the Oscar ceremony in 2021. More and more of the Oscars are looking like a ceremony for independent and protest films. I didn't know if I was watching an Afro-Korean festival, a Black Lives Matter demonstration, or the 8M. Apart from that, an ugly, ugly gala. What a hateful and spiteful woman, attacking the Oscars and yet hoping to win one just a few years later. How ironic. She continues going after the COVID vaccine, saying, "The Chinese vaccine, apart from the mandatory chip, comes with 2 spring rolls, a cat that moves its hand, 2 plastic flowers, a pop-up lantern, 3 telephone lines, and €1 for your first controlled purchase." Her tweets are disgusting, and as much as she tries to find another way to describe them, they are racist. Emilia Perez holds a record for being a movie that's not in English to have 13 Oscar nominations, so it's sad to think that a movie with this much acclaim has so many rotten issues at its core. Not only is the movie offensively portraying Mexico and Mexican people, but it offensively portrays the trans experience. The worst part is, Carla was being celebrated, especially in her home country, for being the first trans actress to be nominated for an Academy Award. Carla's Oscar nomination for Emilia Perez is a big deal in Spain. She is the first openly trans actress ever nominated for an Academy Award, and if she wins, she'll be the first Spanish actor to take home an Oscar for a leading role. Roberto Enriquez, also known as Bob Pop, is a Spanish influencer and writer. He too celebrated Carla's nomination, saying, "From the members of the LGBTQ+ collective, we found that Carla Sofia is someone who has arrived in a very, very difficult place for someone like her," he told NPR. But then, Bob Pop says the tweets appeared. Bob Pop says that her tweets are ironic, saying, "I think she is not aware that the hate speech she has against black people, Islamic people, poor people, the government, are weapons for the people who think that she has no right to be herself as a trans woman." In other words, he believes Carla is giving ammunition to the same actors who oppose her own rights as a trans woman in Spain. Carla's apology was something you would expect from an ignorant person, saying, "I can't be racist, I have these types of friends." Carla says, "I want to acknowledge the conversation around my past social media posts that have caused hurt. As someone in a marginalized community, I know the suffering all too well, and I am deeply sorry to those I have caused pain. All my life I have fought for a better world. I believe light will always triumph over darkness." Light will always triumph over darkness is a weird thing to say when you're apologizing for racist tweets. Carla claims that she can't fix her past actions, but can only say she is not the same person as she was 10 or 20 years ago, but most of these tweets are only from 5 or 4 years ago. You would think at 52 years old, you wouldn't have to play the age excuse. She's been old enough to know better for at least 3.5 decades now. She says, "Anyone who knows me knows that I'm not a racist. You will be surprised when you find out that one of the most important people in my current life and that I love the most is Muslim, nor any of the things for which I have been judged and condemned without a trial and without an option to explain the true intention." Her apology then takes a twist when she blames the negative press on us rather than on herself. She says, "They have already won. They have achieved their objective, to stain my existence with lies or things taken out of context. It is clear that there is something very dark behind it. But I tell you something. The more you try to sink me, the stronger it will make me, the greater the victory will be." The issue with Carla's apology is that it's extremely defensive and doesn't show any type of remorse. She's very much like, "Here, sorry, damn." Her apology is entitled, especially since she said not many do the work she does to get to where she is, and that the more we try to silence her, the stronger she'll get. She says that she believes all this backlash is coming from the press to shed negativity on the Oscar campaign. And no, it wasn't a studio plant who put Carla's tweets on blast, it was a journalist and co-host of the podcast Scamfluencers, Sarah Hagee, who discovered the tweets. Funny enough, now Emilia Perez is being removed from the Oscar campaign, and Carla has been asked to step down from all further promotional events. Carla isn't the only problematic figure in Emilia Perez, as people online have been trying to bring awareness to Zoe Saldana's problematic past that keeps getting brushed under the rug. Back in 2021, Zoe responded to a Refinery21 Instagram post with a problematic political view. On Dominican Independence Day, Refinery21's Latinx vertical, Somos, shared an Instagram post where they collaborated with the group Incultured Company to share facts about the history of Dominican Independence Day. 177 years ago today, the Dominican Republic declared its independence from Haiti. But what does this mean for the Afro-Dominican, asks the caption. The day has nothing to do with Spanish colonizers, but rather the country's autonomy from Haiti in 1844, a fact that set the groundwork for centuries of anti-black animus. Zoe responded by saying, "You owe all Dominicans, regardless if they're black, white, or Taino, an apology. On our Independence Day, we do not need to be schooled by others on what we should know about ourselves. Hashtag cancel culture is starting to suck sometimes." The writer for the post, Tatiana Diaz, is a Dominican American who got death threats and had to mute all comments on the post due to Zoe's comments. "I grew up celebrating Dominican Independence Day. To commemorate the occasion this year, I wanted to do something different that was in the spirit of the work we all do at Somos, to integrate our history, to practice real inclusivity, and to understand that we can't celebrate the things that make us beautiful without working to heal the ugly parts of our identity too." This is not the only problematic thing Zoe has done. In the past, she has faced backlash for playing the role of Nina Simone in the 2016 biopic. Zoe faced backlash for the fact that she, a Puerto Rican Dominican woman, is playing the lead as Nina, an African-American singer-songwriter, pianist, and activist of the civil rights movement. Zoe had to do blackface to portray this role rather than casting another talented woman who was genuinely African American. This conversation sparked a broader conversation about race and representation in the media. Zoe has only apologized years after, when social media continuously brought it up. And it seems as if Zoe is not learning any lessons anytime soon, because even though the criticism for Emilia Perez is loud, she is still racking up awards during award show season. You know who keeps losing awards to Zoe? None other than our Emilia Perez star herself, Selena Gomez. When Selena was asked about the backlash and controversy of the film, she gave a statement that seems to be very on par with the Emilia Perez cast. It seems as if ignorance and entitlement were a key factor for scoring the role in the movie. Selena, who has clearly distanced herself from Carla, even though Carla tried to drag her down with her during her hate train, saying that Selena and Zoe support her 200%, has chosen to disappoint the rest of us as well. In an interview talking about all the backlash, Selena says that she does not regret the film one bit and would do it all over again, saying that she is proud of the work.
You have been through it. This movie, have been under this microscope.
I'm really good. Some of the magic has disappeared, but I choose to continue to be proud of what I've done, and I'm just grateful. I live with no regrets, and I would do this movie over and over again if I could.
Some of the magic has disappeared. What magic? This is a film where your own people, Selena, do not like how they have been represented. The thing about Selena Gomez is that she will constantly and pointlessly cry wolf, but only about herself. Unless she's reminding you that she dated Justin Bieber, her attempts to do anything progressive always lay flat, almost as if they don't affect her, so you're not gonna get anything productive out of her. For example, she posted a video sobbing on Instagram about what's going on with the undocumented migrants in America.
I just wanted to say that I'm so sorry.
Now, I, for one, am also heartbroken about the treatment and lack of empathy or consideration for the undocumented migrants in this country, so when I saw Selena posted a video sobbing, I wasn't quick to hate on her like some people were, but I just couldn't help but think, my god, how useless are you? Don't get me wrong, people use this opportunity to make racist jokes towards Selena, which is completely messed up, but my main point is, don't you have the resources to do something that's not whining on Instagram?
Only people are getting attacked. The children. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do.
You're an A-list alleged billionaire. She's not a billionaire, by the way. There always seems to be confusion between someone's net worth and their bank status. They don't go together, but nonetheless, you're a very rich A-list star. And the most you could think to do is go on Instagram and cry about not knowing how to help people.
I'll try everything, I promise.
You've put in more work terrorizing Justin Bieber and his wife Hailey, but when it comes to real issues, you're drawing a blank? She has always been a hypocrite. For starters, Selena, you can help yourself by getting rid of some of the trash that you call friends. One of Selena's best friend is Caroline Franklin, who is a very smug, loud and proud Trump supporter whose family dabbles in American politics and the media and has been invited to meet and celebrate Trump many, many times now. Now, Caroline and her little family are the ones pushing for this border control propaganda, with Caroline's brother, Drake Franklin, a part of the non-profit organization America First Policy Institute. They are literally helping promote the same narratives Trump has, and one of those narratives is deporting people out of the country, aka the same story Selena's crying about. This person is one of Selena's very good friends. She's been in her circle for a long time and is close to Selena's other friends. You would think that instead of crying on Instagram, Selena would cut off her friend who is in favor of what Trump is doing. Then, after Selena got immensely trolled, she deleted the video after 10 minutes.
But you did this for what?
Why not?
Why?
Why not?
Why though?
And the most pointless award goes to... My god, I can't wrap my head around her way of thinking. Instead of educating her 400 million followers on Instagram, she deletes the video after only 10 minutes of it being up. You could have at least left the video up. I get 100% where she is coming from, but I can't help but think of how useless her takes are about politics. And I'll give her the benefit of the doubt, she did get some people to talk about the topic after she posted the video, and a few years ago she did a whole documentary about this topic, but I just think her crying on camera was the equivalent of celebrity singing during the pandemic.
Imagine there's no heaven. Imagine all the people living for today.
Selena is such a victim that nobody else around her can be a victim. Imagine getting deported and Selena Gomez still finds a way to have suffered more than you. And who films themselves crying on social media? Who in their right mind is feeling emotional about a situation, pauses and thinks, let me take out my phone, press record myself crying, and not just teary-eyed crying, but full-on ugly crying, post it, and offer no educational take with it whatsoever. And then to tell everyone, I just don't know what to do. So if you don't know what to do, what are the rest of us protesting supposed to do? So let's regroup. Emilia Perez is a movie whose story primarily takes place in Mexico, even though 99% of the cast is not Mexican. It showcases Mexico in an unflattering light, focusing on drug cartels and violence, which is the same light that many Trump supporters see Mexicans in. Cue Selena crying about that, but also being featured in a movie also about that. And then you have your two leads, Carla, starring as racist, and Zoe starring as ignorant, and on top of that you have a French director who said he basically couldn't care enough to research Mexican culture and representation because he thought he knew enough, and all you ended up getting were stereotypes. Crazy piece of work. Was Selena's performance in Emilia Perez that bad? To talk about Selena's performance, one would have to talk about the director, Jacques Audiard. People pointed out the fact that the director isn't fluent in either Spanish or English, and he openly stated that he didn't have to learn about Mexican culture because he knew enough, which explains why his movie was filled with offensive stereotypes and misrepresentation. I haven't seen the movie, but I feel like if the director himself doesn't speak Spanish, then how is he supposed to know if someone's Spanish is good or bad when he casts Selena? The casting director said that the cast was originally meant to be Mexican, but there weren't enough Mexican actors who were talented enough to be in the movie. This seems like an odd thing to say because I'm pretty sure you could find plenty of Mexican actors who could do a better job than this. The cherry on top is that Selena's character's origin had to be adjusted because her Spanish was that bad. In the movie, she plays an American who's Latina, and that was the excuse for the bad Spanish, which is so funny that they tried to play it off as, haha, no, it's not that she can't speak fluent Spanish, it's actually done on purpose, because she's an American and she's just that good. Selena herself said she wasn't even happy with her performance, saying that she didn't have much time to learn Spanish and hopes that that didn't hinder her performance.
I'm not as happy with what I feel like I could have done in Spanish. Overall, I hope that it doesn't hinder my performance. Perhaps I could have had more time with it.
She also admits that she wanted to be a part of the project so badly that she just went into it knowing that maybe she should have had more time to learn the language. She said all of this before the movie came out and before there was any criticism about her Spanish, so I guess the criticism is only fair. If Selena said she just threw herself into the project because of how badly she wanted it, then clearly what people are complaining about after watching the movie is valid because it doesn't seem like she was qualified. Also, people didn't find it quirky when Selena said she didn't have time to learn and practice Spanish because she's been releasing songs in Spanish since 2010. Not only that, but she released a whole Spanish EP in 2021, which I have a theory she only did it so it could get nominated for a Grammy under the Latin slot because it's her only Grammy-nominated album, and she clearly couldn't get a Grammy nomination for her English albums. So if you had a whole Spanish era, released an album, had all these photo shoots for your culture, why didn't you continue learning the language? Or how did you sing a bunch of songs in Spanish, but yet you can't act in Spanish? Just seems like a bunch of excuses in my book. She's had like 13 years to practice the language, especially since taking on Spanish films was really something she wanted to do in the future, since she's made it clear acting has always been her passion. During a dance break for the movie, people felt like when Selena was singing, and she was supposed to show this passionate burst of emotions, it just sounded like she was casting a spell. Comments said, she's casting a spell this whole song. This is the first Spanish-speaking movie where I had to read subtitles to understand. After the 10th time listening to it, I'm starting to like it. There were some positive comments though, such as, this sounds good to me, I don't care, raw and authentic, I love her voice and the way it sounds, I hear the fire in her Spanish singing for this character, it's not supposed to sound like perfect Spanish. Sure. Comments said, this is the if you get it kind of acting, I love that. People don't understand this moment and why she sounds this way. There was a lot of emotion in her voice because of this specific scene. It's not everyone's taste, but I loved it. There's an art to it. In another scene where she is arguing with someone over the phone, all the comments are saying Eugenio was not lying about her Spanish being that bad. Comments said everyone needs to apologize to Eugenio, and people complained about not being able to feel any emotion from Selena and that she sounded like a robot. In this other clip where Selena's character is talking to Zoe's, people said, I'm fluent in Spanish, but I didn't understand a word without reading the subtitles. Selena seems triggered by any talk that isn't praise because when a part of her dialogue became a meme and she was asked about it, she was a bit annoyed and got offended by it.
There's one line of yours in particular in the film that has already become kind of a low-key meme.
Oh, which one? To be honest, that's disappointing to hear. And I don't know. That's funny, I guess, that it's, I don't know.
Pretty safe to say, most of the criticism that came from Selena's part has to do with the fact that her role felt rushed because she needed to quickly learn Spanish, and since she wasn't fit completely for the role, her character needed to have her origin changed to be American. People also complain saying that it sounds so rehearsed and therefore lacks emotion because she doesn't know what she's saying, so that comes off through the screen. It is weird though that Selena has done so many Spanish projects throughout the years and still doesn't know how to accurately portray Spanish, yet took on a whole Spanish role. To me, it just shows that Selena is smart and an opportunist because she lacks the dedicated time needed to be taken seriously as an actress or singer. At this point, I feel like her singing might be better than her acting. Everyone said they owed Eugenio an apology instead of having him apologize to them. When he apologized for his comments, people were pissed off at how he said something that was his opinion, which was low-key the truth that everyone else was thinking, and social media has babied Selena so much that no one can criticize her work without getting attacked. Selena, who was constantly egging her fans' behavior, said, "Also, do not ever say my fans are the problem standing up, as you say, for me." This isn't the first time Selena watched and applauded her fans going after someone because of her little feelings. She's always ready to defend their actions while pretending that she doesn't want them to go out and attack. Let's not forget when she bullied Hailey Bieber and Kylie Jenner and ended her rant with, "I'm taking a social media break. I have the best fans in the world." Or in the middle of the massive hate train that she started, she did a voiceover skincare video with Taylor's song and sent a big thank you message to them. She eggs them on to continue this behavior, but she only allows it when it's pointed towards other people. The funniest part is, Selena raised her fandom to be spiteful, and when they turn their spitefulness on her, she complains in interviews. Selena told Time magazine, "My own fans, who I adore and I feel like have shaped who I am, will say the most hurtful things to me about how I live my life." She's only okay with their behavior when it's aimed at someone else. She enjoys egging them on because she's a victim without much talent who somehow made it this far. And this isn't my own opinion, it's the opinion of the general public. Someone said, "People can't make constructive criticism anymore without having Selena Gomez and her minions bullying you, that's sad." Another said, "It's so sad that there are a million amazing Latina actresses that are struggling to land a big role, or any role at all, and then they give it to people who can't even pronounce hola. No hate to Selena, but WTF. Selena's acting has never been good, and people only praise her because it's less awful than her singing. This one's pretty good. I will never understand how Selena became a star. She can't sing, she can't act, she can't dance. Even Britney could at least dance to cover up the lack of talent, but Selena has nothing. I'm happy for her though. One could only dream of being talentless yet successful." None of these people are haters, it's just people who are like, no hate to her, or I'm happy for her, but are just dumbfounded at where she found this success in an industry where the majority of her peers are actually good at what they claim to do. And then she goes and says, "I did the best I could. So why are you here? You think Selena's peers in Hollywood are here because they simply did the best they could?" Someone said, "Babying a grown woman is crazy." And it's true. Imagine if Ariana got Wicked but couldn't at least sing, or Miley performed at the Grammys but couldn't dance, or if Taylor was on the biggest tour ever but couldn't perform, or Demi sang the national anthem but pulled a Fergie. They wouldn't be up here talking about "I did the best I could." They would be at dance practice or something and not harassing their ex from a million years ago. Even when Ariana's movie Wicked came out, there were some fans on Twitter complaining about her acting, calling it SNL acting and Nickelodeon acting. But Ariana makes up for it because she's in a musical and can sing. It's not a crime to have an opinion. The director of Emilia Perez calls Selena an oxymoron. The director of Emilia Perez, who seems to be in his own world, confessed that he didn't know who Selena was when she auditioned for him for the role. He was surprised at how nervous the interpreter who came with him to his first meeting with Selena was. She asked him, "You don't know her?" He said, "No." She said, "Not at all?" He answered, "Should I?" He admits that he's only seen 2 films of Selena's, which were Spring Breakers and the Woody Allen film. The only reason he thought of her for the role was because his friend's 14-year-old daughter mentioned her. The girl says, "She's amazing, I love her, she's an icon." He responded saying, "An icon? Did you just learn that word?" He also admits that within 15 minutes of meeting Selena, he knew he was going to book her for the role because of her charisma. So that's interesting. I guess we can officially put her Spanish-speaking skills in a casket. And it truly wasn't because of Selena's spectacular knowledge of the Spanish language. I mean, how could it be? The director himself is French. Selena tells him that she really likes his movies, and he says, "Oh, come on, let's not exaggerate," to which she responds, "If you want, I could tell you how bad they are, or I could say nothing at all." And that was it. That's how Selena fetched her role. From that moment on, in my book, it was a done deal. It was her. After 15 minutes, I shyly spoke as if I were asking for a young woman's hand in marriage. A few months later on the set, he realized that Selena is an oxymoron, a daily contradiction. She's strong but fragile, determined but indetermined, present but also absent, sick but as healthy as can be, chatty and quiet. That has got to be one of the best descriptions of Selena, because she is everything and nothing at once. She does contradict herself a lot, and maybe that could be due to her being bipolar. It feels like a constant switch up, but I do find his description of her pretty interesting. One thing I still have trouble understanding: how could someone who works so much, who has worked so much, who has spent so many hours in the spotlight, still be filled with doubt? How could she be so talented and so insecure, so vulnerable? True. I think Selena's acting used to be better than now. Weirdly enough, her acting on Disney seems to have more soul than her acting on Only Murderers in the Building. And you could say that it's because her character Mabel is supposed to act like that, but there's a difference between a dry character and a stiff actor. I love Only Murderers in the Building, but sometimes getting through some of Selena's scenes feels a little cringe, and that's me watching without even thinking of her as Selena Gomez. That's me just enjoying a great show. So he does pose a great question. How could someone who has been in the industry for this long still be so insecure when it comes off to showing off any talent? My opinion is that she is so in her head because for a very long time she didn't know how to sing or act and was surrounded by peers more successful than her.
So, can you sing?
Can I sing?
No.
I can sing now.
Sing your favorite song right now.
Why do you want me to sing
only one
so
sentence.
much? I'm not gonna sing for you guys.
I came from 10,000 kilometers, 13 hours flight.
You are slick for a 15-year-old. You're like
13
hours
hours we
sitting
were on
there
the
doing
flight,
that.
3 hours.
That insecurity seems to have manifested in real life because it's all people can say about her when talking about her acting and singing.
You might have to perform them at the Oscars.
I hope that all goes on Zoe. I have not.
She sings. Will you do it?
I don't know if I could. I'm not there. It's just different.
It's easy for us to see what Selena is feeling because she can't act without us seeing it in her eyes that she knows she's only doing an okay-ish job. You know when they say a bad actor lets the viewer know that they're acting, while a good actor doesn't even feel like they're putting on a show? Selena's acting isn't extremely bad, but you can tell she knows that the cameras are on.
I'm going to diminish myself a little bit here. I'm not as happy with what I feel like I could have done in Spanish. Overall, I hope that it doesn't hinder my performance, and perhaps I could have had more time with it.
And the more Selena whines about not being good enough, the more she believes it, and then she gives us a performance that she knows isn't good. She's so busy manifesting bad acting with all this self-pity. Whether it's not being good enough to sing or good enough to act, Selena is always setting herself up for praise by tearing herself down.
It was a challenge for me, for sure.
Oh my god. She worked so hard.
Thank you.
She worked.
No, that's not the point. And to be honest, that's disappointing to hear.
Getting to work with everyone, but especially with Selena, is the realization, the discovery that she's such a true artist. You're so little. You're just starting.
Because she knows she's not good enough, it subconsciously sits in our heads and we picture her as not good enough. Take a look at Taylor Swift, for example. Taylor has some of the most mediocre songs on earth and the most boring, mediocre relationship lore. But because she thinks it's so special and grand, everyone else thinks so as well. Because she thinks she's amazing and puts in all the work, she'll give us projects like the Eras Tour and we'll eat it up every time. The cherry on top is that Taylor Swift isn't even a strong vocalist, but she makes up for it by giving us a show. And so when her biggest critics, aka us, watch the Eras Tour, we can't help but notice the genius of it all because Taylor knows it's genius. Selena needs to take some of that Taylor ideology and give us a break from all the self-pity. Well, that's it for this video. Make sure to give this video a like and subscribe, tell us your thoughts in the comments section down below, let us know what you think of Selena and Emilia Perez, and what you think of Emilia Perez in general. Is the criticism valid or not? Thanks, and I'll see you next time.